Hey guys, what's up again? Here we are back at it. What I'm going to do here is I have just a little review on this Atlantis version 2 coil head by Aspire. I know people have already got reviews out about this thing, but I felt like I had to kind of touch on it some. Great tank, guys. Great tank. I mainly do drippers. I got my hands on a Velocity RDA. It's actually one of the clones. It's not a true one. I'll be coming up with a little review on it. So far, man, the thing's great. But for now, we're here to talk about the Atlantis V2. Man, this tank, it flows like a champ. I mean, it's got crazy airflow, and it's partly, I mean, it's got big air holes right down here. I say, one on each side, and you turn it, and it's got a little small air hole. I don't know if you can see that. This thing is fantastic. It's also got the little secondary airflow up here at the top. You can see one little hole there. There's 4 of them all the way around, and you can adjust them with this little ring. Kind of a downside to this tank is this is like the only tip you can use because it is so big because of that secondary airflow. But not at all a bad thing. I mean, it's a good tip. I mean, it's a decent size. I mean, it's a huge bore. That thing is like 8 or 10 millimeters in bore. I mean, it's a big dude. The mod's 22 millimeters. It's just a great mod. I mean, I'm see what we got here. I'm vaping at 40 watts on a 0.5 ohm coil. This is my second coil to go through this thing. I actually have some nickel coils on order for it. I'm just waiting for them to come in the mail. So I can do some temperature control stuff with it, which I feel will be fantastic. But so far, just what I've been doing is just a standard, wattage. Man, I've vaped this thing all the way up to 50, 60 watts. I did it at 75 watts a little bit the other day. Got kind of, after some really big hits, 5-6 second pulls, I started to get a little bit of burnt. This thing is great. It's got good flavor production, holds a really decent amount of juice, wicks really well. One big thing I noticed between this and the Kanger is with the Kanger, it's only got the 2 small juice holes where the wick is exposed on each side of the coil. This thing has 4 spots. I don't know how well you can see them in those little windows. There's one, there's the other, all the way around. And they're big, and they're kind of set down in a little recessed area, which is great because all of your juice goes down and sets on those wicks. Whereas with the Kanger, I noticed that as you get really low on juice, you've got to kind of tip it a little bit to get the juice to go to the wicks and kind of soak up. You vape a little bit, it gets a little bit dry, you got to do it again until all the juice is gone, or lose that little tiny amount of juice, pour it out, whatever, and refill it, or fill it with the same stuff. I tend to change flavors every time a tank runs empty. It's fairly rare that I get stuck on a flavor and just keep filling it. I do know Aspire just come out with the Triton, which is basically this tank, but it top fills. I'm not going to do a tabletop view on this thing, just because everybody's seen reviews. Everybody knows what the packaging looks like. Little tiny box. I know I didn't do the whole unwrap thing. I just want to talk about how great this tank is. I mean, I loved my Kanger. My Kanger was awesome. This thing is, to me, so much better than the Kanger. I mean, it has dripper-like airflow. It just flows like crazy, and it produces cloud pretty good. I mean, what did I say? 40 watts? Yeah, 40 watts at 4.5 volts on 0.5 ohm. I'll give it a little vape, kind of show you some cloud. Good, dense, nice and warm. I mean, it's good stuff. The place that hooked me up with this thing is a little shop. There's one here and there's one in Yukon. It's called A&M Vape Shop. I'll post all their information down in the description. Good people. The one up here in Stillwater is owned by a younger guy. I call him a kid, but he's younger than me. But he's a nice guy. He hooked me up with this thing, man. Great prices, great service, really nice guy. And just I mean, it just clouds. I took my vapor band. I can't tell you enough how great these are. I had a friend who just got a tank, had it 3 days, had it on his desk, moved a piece of paper, knocked his mod over, and busted the tank all over his desk. So he really quickly ran down and got one of these vapor bands. You know, you may think they look silly, whatever, but they save a tank, and I mean, they're like $2 or $3. I mean, they don't cost nothing. You know, you can get, you know, not quite so bright colors. I just got a big bright green one because I like crazy colors. But what it all boils down to is a great tank. A couple of my friends have got them. You know, everybody's loved them. Only real complaint I've noticed with mine, and it only tends to be, you know, when it sits in a, you know, in a kind of a warm area, like in my pocket or something like that. You know, like last night we went to the drag strip and I carried it around in my pocket. After a while being in my pocket, I mean, guys, it was hot outside. It was like 90 degrees at 12 o'clock at night. I mean, it was hot. It got a little warm, and like the first vape, I'd get a little spit back. I feel like it's probably just mainly because of that vertical coil. There's nothing really to interrupt the airflow, so I get just a little bit of spit back. But it's nothing bad. It's nothing worse than a dripper. I mean, it's by far not as bad as a dripper. I mean, a dripper, especially when you fresh drip them, and if you hit them with a lot of power, you coat your mouth. Yeah, it's bad. If you drip, you know what I'm talking about. It's not a big deal, but it tends to only do it once. So to me, that I wouldn't call that a negative on this thing, but I mean, it holds a lot of juice. I mean, you can see it really clearly, you know, how much juice I got in there. I don't remember the exact amount. I apologize. It's just been a crazy week, but I said I've run this thing, you know, through the mill. You know, I've already went through one coil. Coil lasted about two and a half weeks, something like that. I've only had this coil in there for a few days. You know, first replacement coil I put in. The first one, it worked great. There wasn't necessarily anything wrong with it. It was just starting to get a little gummed up, and I was noticing flavor was going down, and so I just went ahead and changed it. I probably could have went another day or two. I'm saying it, you know, 2 weeks. And remember, guys, I do zero nicotine because I don't need nicotine. I do this for the flavor, for the cloud, you know, just for the fun of it. So I'm sure if you use nicotine, it may gum the coil up a little faster, a little worse. I'm not sure. I don't know because I don't do it. You know, I'm sure I could, you know, talk to some of my friends and stuff that you know, do drip, or sorry, not drip, because we're not dripping, it's a tank, that do vape nicotine, and I could see, you know, how long their coils and whatnot last. But yeah, I mean, aside from the fact that you can't change the tip, or at least none that I've found that will plug into this thing, because it's a big tip, guys. I mean, but it fits good. I mean, it fits really tight. I just don't know of any you know, different drip tips that are that size. You know, if you know some, please let me know. You know, tell me in the comments. Because I mean, I love customizing these things. I mean, you've seen my Kanger. You know, I had, you know, the Liquid Mind Designs tip on it. You know, I had my vapor band on it. You know, all my drippers. You know, I love building coils. I mean, I've got hundreds of coils laying around because I build something, I rock it for a few days, and I try something else. You know, I haven't gotten into the like crazy elaborate, like, you know, the I think it's called an Alien Clapton, or none of those. You know, haven't played with any of that, but I've been rocking the tank because, like I've said before, you know, I drive a semi, so it's just not at all convenient to jack with dripping and all that. And I kind of shied away from tanks at first because, coming from a dripper, I had tried some of my friends' tanks, and they were just too restrictive. I mean, you know, you just got no airflow, and that was my biggest complaint with tanks, and that's why I never bought one. And then a buddy of mine had a Kanger. I tried the Kanger, and, you know, it flows really good. I liked it, so I got one. Played with it for a while, and you know, did temperature control, all that on it. And then I tried this Aspire Atlantis V2, and man, it flows air like crazy. My poor Kanger's just been sitting on a shelf, all sad by itself. I think it feels like it's grounded. You know, it got in trouble. But Kangaroo's a great tank. This, to me, is a fantastic tank. I do know that they make several different ohms of coils. There's a 0.5, I believe there's a 0.2, and I believe that there's a 1 ohm coil. I just been doing the 0.5s. I've never really played with the 0.2s. I mean, I messed with one a tiny bit. It was actually in a Atlantis version 1. I'll play with a 0.2, and having the power that IPv4 does, I just didn't see the need in the 0.2. It kind of heated up a little fast, and I just didn't see the need in it. The 0.5 coils, like everybody, at least around here, around Stillwater, has stockpiles of 0.5 ohm coils. So I just go with what's available. But I will do temperature control on it, and I will come back and I'll do a little review on those coils, just to see how it responds. How good they are. But I mean, as for now, guys, I say this thing Cloud's great. Check them out. Be sure and check out A&M Vapor Shop. Great people. I'll give you one more vape, and then we'll get you guys out of here. Good stuff, guys. I mean, you can see it clouds. Definitely. I mean, if you're in the market for a tank, I mean, look this thing up, or even get your hands on a new Triton, because that whole top fill thing. With that being said, guys, live life in the vape lane.